Hello and welcome to Seder Soul Sailing. So, uh, I yesterday, I'm sorry, I had a bunch of messages and I just got so wrapped up I forgot to look at them. I should wear my glasses as well as so I could actually see what's going across the screen. But I apologize, didn't mean to ignore you, and I don't know how to go back and find those live messages, so um, I don't know if it's possible. Anyway, I apologize. I'll try to pay attention today. So I've been trying to figure out. Okay, so I'm happy to see the Maduro and whatever. I don't know about his wife. I don't really know anything about her, but I'm happy to see Maduro get his ass dragged off to some prison somewhere. I'd be happy to see uh, whatever you know half bastard brother of Fidel Castro is running Cuba get dragged off too right about now. Um, but I'd be kind of happy if the entire EU Council got hauled off by Navy SEALs to some undisclosed location. I mean, I'm not a big fan of any of these people, and that would include these guys that I sometimes sound like I support. I support what they're doing when they do something that's useful, like what Maloney's doing, putting a fork in the ass of the corrupt, anti-democratic organization that is the EU Politburo, and more power to her and Orban and Poland and more power to the ass clowns running the clown car as they careen over the cliff. Um, you know, in that respect, Mertz, Macron, and Ursula von der Leyen are doing a fabulous job of destroying the clown car. So go, keep it up. Keep it coming. Um, but this situation with Venezuela is pretty serious, and it's got, like I said, it's got nothing to do with stopping drug flow. Even though I think it's quite possible that China is behind some of the drugs that are coming into the U.S. But I mean, there's poppy fields in Mexico too. I mean, they're yeah, it's a problem, but just taking out one figurehead in Venezuela isn't going to make a shit bit of difference, or bombing some boat, some charter boat in out freaking cruising in the Caribbean isn't going to help either. But taking out one or two here or there is not a bad thing, I guess, but from the perspective of the stated intention. But what is the real intention? I've been thinking about this a lot. And clearly this was specifically planned to send a message of some sort to China. Because Venezuela is a major trading partner with China. And Trump, in the security statement issued in December 4th, stated explicitly that they're going to pull out of NATO and pull out of the EU and start focusing on our backyard. And that was a message to China, because China's. I've lived in Latin America for like going on 5 years now, and you go to these little towns and you need some electronic part or something for your fix something or other, and they tell you to go to the China store. I mean, China is all over in Latin America, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Uh, I think what's going on, the more I think about it, is that the U.S. and China are playing two completely different games. Hey, hi 67 again. 67. Uh, I'll figure that out someday. Why it says 67? I know what is it, 29 or. Uh, so anyway, hey, all you guys watching, if you could give this a thumbs up, it really helps. Uh, So China China is playing a very different game than the U.S. China's playing a long game. Um, at first, I was kind of thinking of it. Uh, China doesn't think in terms of quarterly profits and investment and return on investment and things like that. They have the long game. They're thinking a long term plan, and uh, and they're patient. They can wait out. So um, they're not fighting a military war. Here's the thing: the U.S. wants to remain a unipolar hegemony. They want to remain the hegemon. They want to have the world reserve currency. They want to have the biggest military. They want to control the world in the using force. They want to have a monopoly on the use of violence. And that's one thing that China is now denying them. All of those things. It's denying them monopoly on using finance, using like SWIFT and the world reserve currency as a weapon, the weaponization of the dollar. They've done that by creating this BRICS unit system that's going to go outside of the SWIFT International Monetary Exchange System, and they've done that by doing, oil deals with places like Venezuela and Iran. And greetings from Panama. Hey, hi. I'm in Panama, in case you've guessed. Um, the So they've they are a threat to having a monopoly on the use of currency as a weapon. They're not a threat to us militarily, although I'm going to guess that if we went and did to China, went to try to pull G out of China, wouldn't end well for us. There's a few Chinese there. Hi, my name is Guillermo. Nice to meet you. Hi, Guillermo. I I know a few Guillermos. Uh, so this is so here, and I started thinking about it. The U.S. is caught in this mindset where if China was following a playbook, it would be the art of war. And they're following Sun Tzu's strategy. It's you wait till the moment is right to attack, and you don't attack using you don't attack your enemy in an area where he has strength. You attack him in an area where you have strength. And where China has strength is in organization, production, distribution, and just procedural. I mean, if you've ever gone to the Department of Motor Vehicles in the United States, you got a pretty good idea where U.S. stands on procedural competency. Speak Spanish, friend. If I spoke Spanish, you would not like me. You would be saying, "Shut up, you damn fool." I'm sure a lot of you English speakers would probably agree. But hey, leave comments and like, dislike, or just leave a comment, whatever. Say, but anyway, China's good at what it does, and the main thing China does is wait. It's you don't fight the enemy on a battleground of his choosing. You draw him into a battleground of your choosing, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And by attacking Venezuela, while you got to remember this, there was a Chinese delegation meeting with Maduro Saturday when the Navy SEALs went in and hauled his ass out of there Saturday morning in helicopters. Something really weird going on there. Somebody inside. But China and Russia knew this was happening because a lot of this, people say it's about oil, and it is about oil. Venezuelan oil is very important to China, and China needs a lot of oil, but more than Russia can supply. But it's more than that, and it's about other things. Silver is probably the new oil because everything's going electric. I've been a big critic of EVs because they don't really function very well as they are. But there's new technologies that are coming out that could change that dramatically. New solar technology, new battery technologies, and it's all using phenomenal amounts of silver. Silver is not like gold. Silver gets used up in industry. If you behind me, there's some solar panels back there, and they are filled with silver. That's how they function. And there's new type of solar panels. I had one on my old boat that called N type, and they're phenomenal. They're unbelievable. They're expensive as hell too because they use a ton of silver. So silver is, in a lot of ways, silver is the new oil. Russia and China this week, just before the U.S. invaded, they removed $2 billion worth of silver. That's nothing. China is one of the biggest dealers in silver. I forget what it's called, the Chinese Metals Exchange, the CME. It's in Hong Kong. No, it's in. Anyway, it's where the bulk of physical gold and silver is bought and sold, and like the reason it's not about oil. Silver, maybe it might be about silver. Hey, I'm seeing a bunch of you coming on here, and hit the button, man. Come on, hit the like button. Are you just doing that to irk me? Anyway, but China and Russia removed their silver from Venezuela before the attack, so they knew this was coming. I mean, this wasn't a surprise to them. So they're playing a long game, and I was thinking about it, and it's like China's using the art of war for its playbook. And I was trying to figure out where the West, especially the U.S., is using as its playbook. And a better example would be like the Old Testament or the Talmud or something, which is, brute force, beat your woman if she doesn't do what you tell her to do. That's very Old Testament Talmud kind of attitude. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the Old Testament or the Talmud, so I'm not promoting that. But it's really getting to be serious now. So what this boils down to is we're not at war with Venezuela. Venezuela is it's a vassal state of somebody or other, and we'd like to have its oil, we'd like to have its resources, its rare earth minerals and all that, but that's not the main point. The main point was to tell China that we were going to use our monopoly on violence if they tried to push their way into Latin America. So China's not going to play that game. China's got a very different plan. They're not going to fight us in a war they can never win. Just as hopefully we wouldn't be goofy enough to go start a war with them over Taiwan. Because China builds more ships in like a year than the United States could possibly build in 10 years. We like that song, Can't Make It Here Anymore. We're lucky we can make a few guitars still, thank God for that. When was the last time you bought something that was made in America, So anyway, this is the battleground we're facing. The U.S. is trying to use force and violence in its military hegemony against China, and China is playing a very different game. And I'm going to see what the cards have to say about how that game is going to end. If a lot of you have been leaving when I start doing the readings, and I guess I'm kind of stuck doing tarot readings here because it's kind of our shtick, I guess. But I do like the cards. I like to have conversations with them. And so if you do bugger off before I start the reading, I understand. I'm not trying to impose my personal sovereignty on you or anything. But give it a like. Come on, give us a like before you run off, run away. Uh, and let's see what the cards have to say about this war that basically is being fought on two different battlegrounds. Um, you know, China is playing Tetris, and the U.S. is playing Space Invaders. uh, that probably means nothing to most of you because you're so young you don't even remember what those games were. But they were games back when you used to go put a quarter in the machine in the pizza parlor in the back room and play a video game. Um, so who's going to win, the Tetris player or the Space Invaders player? So I guess the cards are going to be a little bit opaque today. They're going to make a point of saying they're not going to give a real clear answer. I can tell you that from the signifier. But here's the overall situation, and that's a secure, happy home life. You know, I do not know how this is going to end. This is a game that's pretty damn hard to understand anyway. But if things got better for the people of both China and the United States and the people of Latin America, I would be happy. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I would sure be happy. And here's the gateway is balance, finding balance. That makes a lot of sense. And there's the root card. So this is built on something pretty positive here. And the present moment is keep your coins, keep your purse shut pretty tight. Hang on to what you got, 'cause shit's gonna get real. Shit's gonna get crazy. And there's the psychological future, and that is like prosperity. It's security. It's security in the earthly sense, like having a secure home, having a secure foundation. And this is battle, this is travel, and it could be victory, but it's very ambiguous card. That card is you just know shit's going to happen when that card, and that's the future. And here's the fear, and the fear is a union of equals. This makes so much sense because that's exactly why we're going to war with China. If China is putting together, BRICS is an attempt to put together this multipolar world where there's not a hegemon that, the world's that has the world reserve currency and it's the superpower. They're trying to put together a world where if we work together with China, we just quit fighting them. We quit playing a different game than they're playing. We just kind of studied what they're doing and kind of figured out how to use our own strengths against them instead of using our weaknesses to enable them. But that would require us to recognize them as an equal, and that just seems beyond the capacity of the U.S. leadership to recognize that they still think the Chinese are like those people in the old movies making the railroad, with the little funny hats and shit. This is not the case. This is not the world we live in. This is not some shit 1947 or 48 movie about building a railroad. This is a very different world, and China's a very different place. I mean, when Clinton let China into the whatever the big organization of people that are controlling our money is, I think China had like a economy of like $200 billion. And now China has an economy of like 26 or 28 trillion dollars. I mean, or maybe it's 36 trillion dollars. So, I mean, we're not talking about the same place. This is not the same country that was reeling from Chairman Mao's incompetence that Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger visited in 1970, whatever. This is a very different world, very different place. And here is the astrological energies. And this is exercising power with compassion, with heart. Exercising power with care and not just running over everything like a goddamn bull in a china shop. Because that's kind of what this invasion in Venezuela was like a bull in a china shop. And, the bull's going to win, the China's going to lose. But China said, okay, and they just stepped back and they decided, you want to play bull in the china shop? We're going to play bullfighter. And the sword they're using to fight this game is silver. Look into what China did with restricting exports of silver. And here's the desires, and they want what that is finding our own personal sovereignty, and that's actually a really good thing. This is the final outcome, and that's generosity. So you know what? Maybe, just maybe, maybe we'll turn this country into some place that exercises this kind of power instead of the bull in the china shop that gets speared by the bullfighter's sword. And quit fearing a partnership of equals, and and exercise generosity. That would actually, Jesus, you know what that would lead us to? That would lead us to this: a happy, stable home life, a happy, stable homeland for everybody. This is modifying our fears, and we're being tempted. The power that we get by being the world hegemon, by being the superpower, by having the world reserve currency, all that stuff is that is the temptation that's keeping us from this partnership of equals, which is what we need to do with China. We got to quit saying, do things the way we tell you, or else, because eventually or else means nothing. It'll be like von der Leyen trying to send in Mertz to punish Maloney, and she strung him up upside down naked in the streets of Rome like Mussolini. Figuratively. I'm not saying she actually did that, although that would have been a hell of a video, wouldn't it? I would watch that. I'd give it a thumbs up. And this modifies the desire. So this is saying that to find our personal sovereignty, we need to do some shadow work. We need to look inside ourselves. We need to know why we fear partnerships of equal, why we partnerships with equals. And here is the modifying the final outcome, and that is the Hermit. So yeah, we're going to have to do that shadow work. We have to go inside ourselves and really see what our fears are, why we're so attached to our addiction to power and control and military might and stuff like that. Because those days are over, I'm telling you. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys are having a great first week of first complete week of 2026. Give this a like, and hi, hello. Another greetings from Panama. Hey, I'm bigger than Slim Whitman in Panama, I guess. But the Beatles still got me beat, I'm sure. I love you all. Have a great week, and I hope this works out. I hope everybody starts to come to their senses. And I mean, we do not need to be throwing all our young people in a goddamn meat grinder wars. It's just, there's no, you know what? If we're gonna have a war, let's put the sons of bitches that are trying to send us to war. Let's send those guys to war. Let's give them an old fucking M1 carbine or something, and say, backpack full of ammo and say, you know, go make a man of yourself, you twat. um, love you all, and have a great week, and probably see you tomorrow if they don't, you know, they don't fire my ass or and again, give this a like if you watched. If you watched it this far, for sure give it a like, because if you watch it this far, or even a dislike, but pretty, love you all.